I'm a bad motherfucker.
All right, so we have one of the most disgraceful stories we've ever presented on either platform here on YouTube. The mocking of a disabled elderly man by the government. The man just happens to be our president.
Bullying is what it is.
It's bullying. They're bullying him. It's ageism. Special counsel describes Biden as elderly man with poor memory. An eyebrow-raising report.
What is raising your eyebrow about that?
In agreement. Agreement. Special counsel Robert Hur on Thursday released a 388-page report on President Biden's retention of classified material, finding the president frequently showed limitations with his memory and recall. While the report concluded no charges should be brought against the president, its language describing Biden, 81, is likely to be campaign fodder for Republicans who have repeatedly raised questions about the president's ability to serve. In opting not to bring charges, Hur, who was appointed by former President Trump to serve as U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland in 2017, cited the shortage of evidence, but also how Biden would present himself to a jury. Quote, "We have also considered that at trial, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory."
And a
wrote.
cherry Corvette.
In other words, you're never going to get a jury to convict because they're going to feel too sorry for this doddering old man. Quote,
yeah, and that's really important because all the libs who are saying, oh, it was gratuitous that they mentioned what a doddering old man he is. That was gratuitous. That was unnecessary. No, moron. That was part of their rationale for not indicting him, was that because his brain is broken, he couldn't present himself to an actual jury. You couldn't actually have a trial because he's that far gone. That was part of why they chose to do what they did. So they weren't just piling on. That was part of their explanation for why they ruled the way they
They're
ruled.
explaining why they're not prosecuting him.
Exactly.
Because, I suppose they feel that on the merits there are grounds to prosecute, but they're explaining it's not prosecutable because his memory's shot and he's going to read as sympathetic and not capable of culpability to a jury.
Yeah, he's like the white Ricky Ray Rector. You know, what's the point?
Yeah, he's saving his pecan pie for after. His next. Okay. Shit, I just blanked out on what I was
let's get through it. Based on our direct interactions with and observations of him, he is someone for whom many jurors will want to identify reasonable doubt. It would be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him, by then a former president well into his 80s, of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. The report on more than one occasion refers to Biden struggling to remember things when he spoke to a ghostwriter for his memoir, as Hur cited Biden's 2017 conversations with ghostwriter Mark Zwanitzer, which Hur described as, quote, painfully slow, with Mr. Biden struggling to remember events and straining at times to read and relay his own notebook entries. In his interview with our office, Mr. Biden's memory was worse, Hur wrote. A pro-Trump super PAC quickly made use of the report. Quote, if you're too senile to stand trial, then you're too senile to be president. Joe Biden is unfit to lead this nation. Alex Pfeiffer, communications director for the pro-Trump super PAC, Make America Great Again, Inc., said in a statement. Hur's report is likely to set off a fury with Biden supporters. Democratic strategist Paul Begala, Tucker's old sparring partner.
Like I said in the previous segment, man, rough night for the libs last night. What a pile-on. What an unrelenting pile-on.
Speaking Thursday afternoon on CNN, described some of the remarks as cheap shots. Biden's personal and White House lawyers wrote a letter to Hur on Monday upon the conclusion of the investigation, arguing the special counsel's treatment of the president was unfair and called the repeated references to his memory gratuitous. It's not gratuitous.
They didn't want him to forget.
They're explaining why they are not bringing charges in a clear case. Especially, they have to explain it because they went after Trump for the same thing. They have to explain why are they not doing this in this case. They don't want to be under scrutiny themselves. They're saying, hey, the guy is too far gone. It is one thing, quote, it is one thing to observe President Biden's memory as being significantly limited on certain subjects. It is quite another to use the more sweeping and highly prejudicial language employed later in the report, White House Special Counsel Richard Sauber and personal attorney Bob Bauer wrote to her.
What's his defense going to be if he doesn't say that?
Right, exactly. The president's age has clouded discussions about the presidential race, particularly with Trump 77 expected to be the GOP nominee. Polls have repeatedly shown voters have concerns about Biden's age. Other surveys have suggested a large number of Americans are unhappy with their choices in Biden and Trump. Now,
no shit.
You know, these people, they just want everything. They just want everything. They want two non-geriatric candidates who seem competent and capable of doing the job. What are they thinking? The special counsel at one point in the report wrote that Biden, quote, did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting when his term ended, and in another instance, forgot when his term began. Her reported Biden did not remember when his son Beau had died, and his memory appeared hazy when speaking about a debate over Afghanistan that was critical to his memoirs.
Did he remember his father's kibbutz that was destroyed?
That, you know, they didn't get into that in this article. Biden would be 86 at the end of a potential second term. The president has said it is fair for voters to consider his age, but here's the punchline, but he and his team have stressed that he should be judged on his record of achievements while in office.
Fair enough.
You can't make it up. The nation has an obesity problem. When I got into office, it cost you $4 for a dozen eggs. Now it costs you $8. You're eating half as many eggs. You're losing weight.
Would he even remember that a line that great?
Probably not. Twice this week, Biden has confused the names of European leaders he met with at a Group of 7 summit early in his presidency. Trump, who is 77, has not been immune from his own moments of confusion on the campaign trail. Trump at one October rally appeared to confuse the leaders of Hungary and Turkey. In January, he repeatedly confused former Speaker Nancy Pelosi with his GOP primary opponent, Nikki Haley, falsely claiming...
Hungary and Turkey, too. You remember why I confuse Hungary and Turkey, Russell?
Why?
Because Turkey makes me hungry.
Oh, no. You didn't.
See?
You didn't.
I made that joke on our show, and he hated it. He hates punny dad jokes.
I hate those jokes.
I thought that
I hate those
trigger
jokes.
memory, because I've said that to you. But yes, I've confused those before, too.
They had to change the name of the country because of your hijinks. I hope you're happy. You know, they changed it because of that. I wanted to say my opponent, Fancy Poloni.
All right, so he said that Haley was in charge of security during the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Now I got to say, and look, I've been doing the show on and off for a few weeks now. You know, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. This sounds more like Donald Trump's ignorance than that he's having a cognitive problem.
Yeah, you have to understand, when I mix things up, it's just because I'm a crazy fucking moron. It's not that I've lost my faculties, okay?
I mean, honestly, that's the case I'm making.
Being me. Right.
Okay,
yeah.
He really did say that on October 7th, what was the pivotal date?
January 6th?
October 7th.
Oh.
That his father's kibbutz was destroyed 75 years ago, this October 7th today.
Oh, no, I saw that.
That's beyond...
Yeah.
No, listen, he's not too old. Why is everybody saying that? Is he too... No, I don't care if you're old. When do we not have old-ass presidents? They're all old. His fucking brain doesn't work.
Right.
This is like North Korea. You know when the dear leader, Kim Il-sung, had a big fucking tumor on the back of his neck for the last part of his life? And everybody there was like,
it's believed now that was an attempt at cloning. The clone was... They were trying to grow it in the neck.
Well, they all thought it was... Mike Malice was telling me about it. He goes, the people go, no, yeah, he had a war injury. That's where we're at. North Korea shit.
Yes, I mean, yes, absolutely. When you look at this, the idea that you're going to go out there as a so-called journalist and try to make the case that Joe Biden is not clearly mentally incompetent to serve as the president, aside from his defects in policy and character, just mental competence. How are you different from state TV? How are you different from TV in a totalitarian society or newspapers? How are you different from a press that is completely controlled by the state? Functionally, you're not any different. You're not any different. If any society that we're on the outs with had a leader like that the press was running around trying to pretend was not mentally incompetent, we'd be all over that. Oh, look at in these effective than ours.
No, I know they're better. I'm just saying
they're better. They have better dick and balls.
That was newer.
Yeah. All right. So this is Joe Biden very forcefully and convincingly disabusing the nation of the notion that he's mentally incompetent.
Something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's totally
How bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad, I let you speak. That's
your memory has gotten worse, Mr. President?
My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president.
Are
I
you
don't even thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on.
Mr. President.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Like, no, really. I can't stand this.
4
fuck.
more years.
And I actually feel
years.
kind of bad for him. Like, we've made the joke it's elder abuse, but it really is.
Good.
Look at him. Look at him.
No, listen, this I call bullshit on this whole thing. I think this whole thing is a setup. I'm being honest. I think they're trying to push him out of the race. And I think that's why.
I mean, you've been saying that for a while.
And that's why I think the campaign sent him out here. Why on earth would you send Joe Biden on that day out to not only do a press conference, but to take questions from reporters and have them yell them at him? It's not like he has his list there. Okay, NBC. Okay, CBS. It's not like they planted everybody in the crowd. Why would you do that unless you were trying to get him out of the race? I think they are trying to knock him out. I think this was the first step. Now it is on record that the guy's mind is gone. You're now seeing the conversation about his mental faculties much more mainstream than you did a couple days ago. And that's what I think is happening here. I don't think that this was a political hit job against the Democrats on the part of this prosecutor. Pardon me. I think this is an effort to save the Democrats' ass by forcing him out of the race.
Well, the prosecutor was a Trump appointee, though. Like,
Yeah,
why would he want to help the Democrats?
I cannot imagine. I know, but I cannot imagine
His
that
reason's legit.
they are not trying to force this guy out of the race here. This is what it seems like to me. This is step
Why
one.
are they reporting it's a
see
question?
I can't see it. I can't see him being on the ticket. Vivek Ramaswamy said the same thing. He didn't suggest an inside job, but he said, look, after today, he's not going to be the nominee. They're going to swap this guy out.
I think you're probably right. I'm not sure if that's the reason they dropped it, given who dropped it, but sending him out there, yes. Why on earth? They can't be that deluded to have thought that would go well.
No, they're not.
So why would you?
They knew they were setting him up. They knew that this was going to go. How could it not?
How could it not
exactly. Go badly?
Exactly.
So you think he's going to go out there and ace it? I mean, ridiculous.
Wait, ask yourself this. If people are this stupid that just now it's okay to notice that his brain is gone, what do you think they could do when Gavin Newsom's the new guy? Keeping in mind Bill Maher's stupidity about Gavin Newsom. And they're going to go, we did a great job in California.
Yeah, but the problem with Biden is he has just uniquely fucked himself. Like, there was a segment we were almost going to do the other day on our show where this ceasefire protester was interviewed about Biden. She says, no, I'm not voting for Biden. And they say, well, are you going to vote for Trump? Obviously, I'm not going to vote for Trump. And this ceasefire protester says, we need someone else on the Democratic side because a lot of the people who are boycotting the Biden ticket over Israel-Gaza would be inclined to vote for another Democrat. You know, these are SJW types. A lot of these are lib-adjacent types. They are gullible. They are easily duped. And the way to dupe them into voting blue now is to bounce this guy and put a guy like Newsom in who wasn't there to fund Israel's, you know, campaign in Gaza. They would say, okay, he doesn't have the baggage that Joe Biden has. Joe Biden is too toxic right now. He cannot win. And the idea, I think, I mean, obviously I'm not a mind reader, but if I had to guess, I would say inside his campaign, they're thinking we have to get this guy out. Now, the real question that this raises, of course, what do they do about the vice president? How do they
I was just going to say, I think it's about the timing. I think if they knock him out now,
yeah, she's president.
They kind of have to go with Kamala. Yep. It would just be
they have to stretch it out until the convention.
They have to stretch it out so then they can blame the delegates for not voting for Kamala. Right? Then it becomes a much more amorphous question. So they got to kind of, you know, just humiliate this guy for another few months.
But this is planting a seed. This is step one because
I think
it's only going to snowball.
I think you're probably right overall.
How they did not think it was a good idea to send him out there and do a press conference last night. No way.
I agree.
No way. Biden's team. I've said this about Biden. I've said, you know, Biden's obviously gone. I've said this in the past. Biden's team is actually a pretty competent political team from the standpoint of they were able to push this guy over the finish line in an election.
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
They are not
a Bernie's.
Yep.
They are not right. They pulled up. I mean, think about it. They
We're into
pushed
part
a
two
dead
now.
man over the finish line. They're not political idiots. They had to have known that was going to blow up in his face, and they set him up to go do it anyway. It's one thing to send him out and read a 60-second statement. You let him take questions.
Which they never do. Which they never do because they know how that's going to go.
You would let him take questions now?
Right.
Hours after a report comes out saying he has no brain, that's when you let him take questions? No. This was a setup. This was an inside job.
All right.
He so let shit his pants and
I don't see why they would have thought it would go badly with the president who just this week talked about his conversation with two dead world leaders.
I know Mitch McGermany, the French guy.
All right, so now I'm going to warn you, man. I did a little work on this that's going to kill you at the end.
All right. Well, it'd have to be pretty hard.
What happened to the sound?
I'm a big Biden guy, so you'd have to make something pretty special.
All right, and we're back. We just had a little audio, and this clip, when the editors put it together later, would not be complete without Joe Biden's brilliant performance.
I just met with Mitch and Randy.
He just so he claims to have met with Mitterrand. He was the French president between 1981 and 1995, and he also died in 1996.
Mitterrand, he's a French bread. Come on, I'm not kidding.
You know, right after I was elected, I went to what they call a G7 meeting, all the NATO leaders. It was in the south of England. And I sat down and I said, America's back. And Mitterrand from Germany, from France, looked at me and said, you know, how long are you back for? You know, right after I was elected, I went to what they call a G7 meeting, all the NATO leaders. It was in the south of England. And I sat down and I said, America's back.
Yeah.
And he said, what?
I see dead people.
And he said, how long you dead for?
Yeah.
Well, come on back, man.
So that was not all. A White House report tonight said President Biden appeared to mistakenly suggest that Helmut Kohl, the former chancellor of Germany, who passed away in 2017, accompanied him during his first foreign trip as president in 2021. Angela Merkel was actually the German chancellor in 2021.
Jesus.
And after assuring us that his memory is fine, Joe Biden refers to Sisi of Egypt as the president of Mexico.
The conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. I think that, as you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side.
And St. Peter was there with the keys to the gate.
Oh my God! Not CC. The pyramid guy.
Yeah, no. Well,
the brown guy people, man. Come on.
Well, having gotten a good look at the leader of Russia, I feel confident. I feel confident in our leader's ability to go toe to toe with that guy. Don't you?
I mean, we should put the videos back to back, because watching the interview last night, I was just like, no wonder. It wouldn't matter what Putin said. Him just talking like not a goddamn idiot is already a devastating thing.
Well,
because you think it's normal for Biden to be like this, or I don't, but people act like that's normal.
Well, you just looking at this, no serious country would have a leader like this. And I know, some people in the audience are fans of our illustrious former president, but no serious country would be proposing Donald Trump for president. That is not a serious country. That is not a nation that can govern itself
a very desperate
anymore,
one.
much less one that can lead the world. Would a country that is qualified to lead the world produce a second contest between Joe Biden and Donald Trump?
Russ, I've said
what
this
kind
a
of
lot.
a system would even propose that once?
I've said this like at least 4 episodes of this show, and over again, when because friends of mine will talk about it, they go, you understand it's gonna be Biden and Trump again, and you still think this is a real thing?
Right.
Like, what's the conspiracy here? You can fucking see it.
And I don't understand why Marianne didn't catch fire, because that's a joke, folks. That's a joke.
She once
We're gonna, you see, Tucker had to drop this Putin thing. We were gonna do a supercut of all the suspects who tried to prop up the Topanga Canyon hippie gurus campaign. That'll be on our show on Due Dissidence on Sunday. We would have had it for today, but Tucker had to drop relevant news, so we weren't able to do brain candy.
Is that what K-Ball's into now? Is that her candidate, Marianne Williamson?
I heard Crystal does not let Kyle P standing up. I heard he has to sit down, or
he doesn't have to. He volunteered.
She gives him what for?
No, he does it.
Keaton, anything?
I stand by what I said earlier. There is no way his campaign team expected that to go any better than it did. I think it's a setup. I think they're trying to time this so that he can get out after Super Tuesday, and so because he has to win enough delegates to the point where they can just switch to whoever they want to at the convention, right? And that's what this is. I mean,
I think you're probably
once
right.
again. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way his team thought it was a good idea sending him out there.
James O'Keefe
At this
caught
point,
it.
Kamala Harris is the biggest problem, because they're going to have to do something about that.
Remember James O'Keefe thing? They go, but what are you going to do? We can't get rid of Kamala because she's a woman of color. The guy said it, so that's obviously the plan. Because notice he didn't have like an index card with the instructions of like, walk left and don't get lost in a 4-foot space that you're standing on.
Yeah.
That you can look over his shoulder and read.
Yeah.
They didn't give him one of his cheat cards.
No, and they didn't shoot him up with whatever they usually shoot him
His
up
talkie
with
pills?
when he has a big thing. Right, exactly.
I honestly think whatever those pills are, they're wearing off. There's only so much you could do. It's like the Logan movie. After a while, the stuff they're shooting Wolverine up with, he took the whole syringe to get elected. to get through the Trump debate.
They should just at this point try sending like a body double out. Fuck it.
Yeah.
We get caught.
Or
we'll go down in history.
I mean,
just
Disney,
send out somebody who's not him.
Disney knows how to make those animatronic Hall
He
of
looks
President
like-
things. Just send out one of those.
He- First of all, he walks like a robot with robot arms when he gets off. He looks like they've stretched the skin over a metal Disney-tronic Terminator skull. Like, I think they're doing that.
All right, Misha, to you.
All right. Bien together.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit